Good afternoon, folks. December 11th, 12 p.m., 2018. So we're going to do a quick review here, and then tonight the swing trade positioning setups are going to be distributed to our members. It starts tonight. I don't think they'll all get out, but it starts, and then it will be continuous into the peak of the time cycle, December 20th, and through until and well into the new year. In fact, I mean, it might just go continuous for the massive time cycle we see for the next 6 months. But it starts tonight, so I'm gonna just give you an idea of what I'm doing here for my trades today and some of the things that I'm watching. So right now in oil, we're seeing oil come off in this resistance cluster that this morning I had noted. We were in the trade here at the mid quad long to the resistance in here. Then there was no machine trading identified in here. It was all retail, and I was concerned about this cluster here. And it's come off since, and now back to the mid quad and trying to find support on the intraday. The important thing is that you do have targets in this region. That's partly why I was concerned with trade too high up here. But at the same time, there could have been a massive squeeze there. So we were watching close. So at this point, I'm looking for a possible trade long, especially if it gets back down into the quad support. So for anybody that doesn't know where the support is on a quad, because we do have some new members. Quad support's down in here. So if we've seen 51 today, I'd be very interested in a trade long, but I am watching this area here at 51.48. So it's come fairly close here in the last half hour, 51.57. So another 10 cents, and I probably would have triggered there, but I have to watch it close, so we'll see. I don't expect you'd see any machine trading until it's down in here. Mind you, the machine might trade it down into here, but I don't think so. I think it would trigger long based on the rule set, which, by the way, I've been asked a number of times about the rule set, and because it's so massive, we ended up with 1,200 and some rules. It's being rewritten right now by Jen to simplify for easy digestion of our member clients. And again, I'll apologize one quick time here to let you know I'm in the middle of most operations over the next couple months, and sometimes it'll be fine, sometimes it'll be a little harder to speak. Okay, so that's oil, so I'm looking for that long. I didn't get the short up at the top. I was looking for it to get a little higher up, and then I was going to short it. Volatility. So I started, small starter position to short volatility earlier today in pre-market. We'll see how it goes. It really hasn't done much today. 21.4 to 23.1 is your range, trading 22.6. I'm hoping for a first target of 20.6, and then I want to reevaluate down possibly into the lower Bollinger Bands. Lower Bollinger Band is the ultimate target. The mid Bollinger is the short-term target. But you got to be really careful with shorting instruments like TVIX, because that can blow up your count very quickly. The S&P, I also have a starter in that. So these are all starters. The S&P is off from my starter, but the structure is what I'm looking at. If I hold the structure, I'm going to add, and that could happen almost any time here. So we'll see how that goes. It seems to be at least intraday following oil here. The main resistance is in the 270.52 range. There's another one coming at 275.51, and then the primary range resistance would be 279.59 if it actually got going. If it fails, all bets are off on that. But for now, I'm playing the risk reward on that range. So volatility, same thing. It's a risk reward play on that range. I also know the time cycle's ending on the 20th, peaking, and there's a possibility I'm on the wrong side of that into the 20th, but I don't think I am. So at this point, it's risk reward play. DGAZ. So DGAZ is doing well. So, this is short natural gas. I'm in a long position starter in pre-market. This is a 30-minute chart. I was going to trim it as I got near the 200 MA on the 30-minute here, but I didn't. I thought, you know what, I'm going to hold it. There's definitely a high probability of a bottoming pattern here in DGAZ. I expect natural gas to come off, and I expect oil to get going. Now, I might here again, with all of this, I might be early. I could be 10 days early, right? It's 11th today. The 20th is in, well, 9 days, I guess, and less the weekend. So, you know, I might be 6 or 7 or 8 trading days early here with all of these positions. But I'm starting the process for now. And oil, of course, pays the bills for us. So, you know, it gives me a little more room to be a little early on these other plays. So I'm also watching AES long. So other longs I'm watching are the yen, AES, CMG, KT, SRRK, ARWR is one of the stocks that we follow in our swing portfolio. It has earnings coming up after close today, I think, or before open tomorrow. I think it's after close today. Also possible into the 20th, I'm looking for short-term plays, possibly QQQ, DIA, IWM, and IBB. So that's the list. If there's any that you want me to take a look at, you're welcome to put them in the room. I've talked to a number of you today on private message, and the majority, well, everybody I spoke to said they're just watching at this point the time cycle into the 20th. Of course, most of our member clients are trading oil along with us. Oh, the other thing really quick, Bitcoin, I don't have any clear indication on it. I'm watching that into the time cycle. And silver and gold, same thing, no clear indication, watching them into the time cycle completion. So between now and the 20th, it's a little bit pensive. I might be a little bit early, but you know, we'll see. So we're getting closer here to my potential buy target in crude at about 51.48 on FX US oil WTI. We're 9 cents off that mark right now, 10 now. And if we get there, I may just take a long. It might take a little while for it to improve here, but this is not an easy trading range right here. Okay, anyway, back to equities. A number of you asked me my thoughts today on DM about you know, really sizing in, and I don't think that's a good idea right now. The next 9 days or so, you should use caution. And the other folks that I spoke to, especially the funds and any floor traders, they all told me they're doing the same thing. So it's a little bit of a pensive time. You know, use your sizing appropriate and use caution, and you know, use the Epic model to pay the bills and get you buffer on your other plays, you know, if you need to. That's kind of how we do it. So I'm going to take a look at a few of these others. I'm going to kill the SPY chart for now. I'll kill the volatility chart for now. I'm going to keep oil up. I'm going to kill the DGAZ chart for now. We don't need any of these. So I'll be back in a couple minutes here. I'm just going to load some charts. Okay, so we'll take a quick look at some of these. I'm watching CMG, so Chipotle Mexican Grill. This is the daily chart. The structure at the top end of its recent range has a pivot right here where it's trading right now, intraday, just shy of 471. All your MAs are starting to center around it, and it's going to spin out either way here. And I'm expecting a move into its previous highs, and if not more. So that's that's a move potentially into 500 to 528. It's trading 470.83. If it doesn't prove out, then it doesn't, and I won't take the trade. So I'm just going to set a quick alarm here at about 480, 450. Okay, so I got the alarm set. I haven't triggered on this one. I think if the market gets lift, that's a pretty predictable trade, but we'll see how that goes. Now, the other one that I'm watching really close, SRRK. Sorry, Jen helps me with posting, and she had posted this wrong previously. So this is your chart on SRRK. The thing I like about it is that the structure on the daily is a solid breakout structure. I don't like the way it trades day to day, but as a swing trade, I really like it. And I'm expecting a move at least half of its previous. So in other words, if you take the move from the main body of the candle from 1708 to the main body of, call it 27, you've got $10 there, and I'm fully expecting about a $5 move. So my targeting right now is in that 30 to 32 range. Today, it's got up and over, but it didn't hold. It is holding near the previous high right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset my alarm on this one for $27, and then I'm going to look at it again. Now, I'm not setting the alarm on both of those, CMG and SRRK, at supports because I've got them on my watch list, and there's reports coming out on them anyway. And yes, on a pullback, I would look at those also. So so far that's CMG and SRRK. Okay, so this is AES. You might not be familiar with this. I've never traded it. AES, the nice thing about it is it's actually working on what we call a bullhorn pattern, a breakout pattern. And if this area holds, what you've got here is that 50 MA coming up. And typically how this works in this scenario, you can kind of see it here. There's a quick sidewinder here where that 20 MA got underneath the 50, and then price was above, and boom, you get this. We're expecting the same thing to happen here. For now, there's no trade. But what I'm going to do, just to give you an idea of how this works, so the way I alarm it is, I put an alert on the 50 crossing the 20. 50 crossing the 20 MA. If price is above, then we've got the setup in play. So that's AES. So that's a potential breakout based on previous highs and a possible sidewinder. That just means when the 20 comes under the 50, the 20 breaches and price is above. This is the heart of that sidewinder right here, and you can see price action after that. So here again, it's on watch, and we'll see how it does. And we've got it alarmed. That's AES. So KT is another long watch. It's a telecommunications corp. I've never traded it before. You may not be familiar with it, but I'll tell you what I like on it. I like the pivot. So right now, we've got a number of setups like this happening in the market. This is a main pivot area on the daily chart. See where the supports previously held. Anyway, it's about to breach. It breaches and holds, and we could see a full extension in there. Now, its extensions are roughly 1424 to 1705, so about a $3, so really you can look at a target in and around, well, previous highs, 1850-ish. So that's KT. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for this area to hold and get moving up and above, and away we go. So a break of these highs that it's been working on, I'm going to call it 1540-ish. And it's very possibly that I'll take a position long. Okay, so the next one is ARWR. Now there are models on this one built, but I'm going to look at the simple charting for now until the reporting comes out. So this is one that we hold. We don't hold many. This is one that we do hold. We have a small starter position in it. We are holding through earnings. And here again, I mean, when you can use something like oil to pay your bills, you can let some of this ride a little longer than others, Just watching oil here on support, this mid-channel support line right here. It's getting a bit of a bounce there. So it hit that 48 I was talking about, closer to 44. So we're going to see if it bounces. I don't think it's ready. ARWR, so this is a daily chart. That's the 200 MA. It's got a nice quasi gap area here. I think if it gets onto the buy side post earnings, that you can just watch its previous highs as your resistance areas. And I don't think it'll take much for this to end up in its previous high testing area above 1880. Now, what's my target? My minimum target is 1880, but I'm looking for a full extension above its previous highs. And that full extension, it basically almost hit it up here. It comes in around 22, and I know that's pretty extreme, but that's what we're gunning for, is 22.50 on the ARWR. So what I'll do here is, this becomes interesting again to me, because we already have a small position on it over the 100 MA. And I might size at that point. So again, that's ARWR with earnings after close today, trading at 1362. Earnings might be tomorrow morning, but I'm pretty sure it's after close today. And we're looking for 22 on the full swing. So this is the Russell 2000 IWM on a daily. I'm just moving to the weekly quick, sorry. So the 200 MA is just in around the 135, 136 range. It's trading 143.72. It's held today. As far as I'm concerned, I don't think you're going to see anything anytime soon below that 135 range. So it's on a high watch for me. The MACD hasn't turned up yet on the weekly, but if we turn over to the daily here, and I know this is a risky trade, so I would size appropriately, one step at a time. I don't know if you can see that candle yesterday, but if you do your candle homework, it's a pretty nice candle, and it's holding the lows of the previous days prior. This is a pretty strong setup. Now, it's not that strong today, but I wouldn't be surprised if you see this daily stock RSI turn up. At that point, it becomes of serious interest to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an alert on the stock RSI on the daily turning up. And we're going to take another look at it here. That's on IWM. As far as a target, I don't have a target on it. Obviously, that 200 MA is going to be serious resistance. And we would just trim at our MAs for sure at the 50 and the 100. We would trim at the 50 if we get it, and then add above it, trim at the 100, add above it, trim at the 200, and add above it. That kind of a trade. Okay, the next one is DIA, Dow Jones Industrial Average. Here again, I really like the hammer on the daily yesterday. You can see it there. There's obviously a pivot area in here. If you take a look at the candles, you don't even need to see the historical to figure that out. On the daily, I like it, but it's the very same scenario as IWM. See your stock RSI here still trending down. This is on the daily. So we're just going to add an alert. Stock RSI crossing stock RSI. So when I'm adding these alerts, they'll trigger into the trading room. You'll see them on the screen. And it's the simplest way for me to monitor trades. Now, I do have a number of monitors in here, so I've got anything that I'm watching on those monitors, but the alarms help. So that's a Dow Jones Industrial Average. The other ones that I've got on watch are IBB and QQQ. Those two specifically, we're not ready to seriously consider them. I've got them on watch for possible longs, but I want to see what the market's doing. Oh, and the other one here, let's take a look. The other one that I put on watch here in the last is NEM. It's Newmont Mining Corporation. A really nice structure on from its lows. This should be the deciding leg. This is definitely could be considered an area that the bulls will want to fill. 36.25 is what I would call main resistance. I'm looking right now, so you can see how that 100 MA came in and under the 20. I'm looking for that 50 to cross that 100 and price to get over the 200. So where do I take a trade in here? It's difficult because it's already been proving itself out. I see this as a pivot area. So a trade could happen almost at any point now. There's no real clear indicator of where to get a trade going here. I just really like the structure of this chart. Yeah, there's nothing really clear that you can point to and say you know, here's a specific buy trigger. This is a weekly chart. So what I'm going to do is bring it down on the 4-hour and see if I can find us a trigger. So the stochastic RSI is almost turning down on the 4-hour. And on the 2-hour, almost turning up. So here again, there just is nothing clear. So I've got it on watch. I'm not going to alarm anything specific. It will be on the reporting. All of these will be on the reporting and more, of course. Yeah, so there's nothing specific there. So I think you've got an idea of what I'm watching right now. Of course, with all the other equities we follow and all the reporting that's coming out, there'll be much more in there. Just looking at our monitors for a minute here. Yeah, that's it for today. So tonight the reports will start flowing out, and then we'll take a look. Here's how oil's trading right now intraday. So the squeeze momentum indicator is settling down. That's a good sign for the bulls here. MACD is starting to come up. Stochastic RSI is a little high, but it doesn't really matter on the 1 minute. And if you go to Epic's model, that's a mid-channel support area that it's bouncing off of, and a previous pivot, those purple lines. So you might get a bounce here, but keep in mind those targets are in here, right? Tuesday and Wednesday, Tuesday at 4:30 and Wednesday at 10:30. So until EIA tomorrow morning, this might be a little difficult to trade. It doesn't mean they won't trade through the quad, but just keep an eye on that middle area. I wouldn't doubt price sits in here for the 2 reports. Okay, so have a great day, guys. I'll get this video out. It'll be the first thing I do tonight, and then I'll get the, I'll make sure that we get the reporting rolling tonight for the swings. Take care.